Start from the beginning, please. Yep.
So there's this clip going viral online of a dozen women being asked the following question: do we need men? Most answered very quickly, no. And only one said she thought women needed a man in their lives, only one. But when men were asked a similar question, do we need women, most of them said yes. So why do you think that is?
Because men are useless. I mean, and by the way, I want to differentiate between straight men and gay men, because I think I would die without gay men. Nobody can gossip like gay men. Nobody can help you accessorize like gay men. Nobody can help you keep you from doing harm to yourself like gay men. But with the exception of somebody like Steve, I think Steve is very self-sufficient.
That's Joy's husband.
But like my husband, it takes a village of women to make sure that he's not emaciated, starving, and living in his own filth. He can, you know.
Yeah.
But you guys, I feel you guys are married to people that are more.
I have Handy Manny at home. No, he fixes everything. When things go bump in the night, he's the one that goes downstairs.
All right.
When there's a bug to be exterminated,
he does. So I'll open it up to the panel. What did the one in the red say? She says that men are
useless.
Okay. So going around the panel, do we need men? Starting with you.
Yeah, I mean, I think my dad and like my mom, they were very formative, like for me growing up, and having both of them was perfect. So.
Okay.
Yeah, I'd say so. Like, I mean, men have things to offer to the world, and just the same as women do.
Yep, I think we need men.
I do too. I agree. We need men.
Yeah, that's right.
We all agree.
Okay. What do you think of men? Is my follow-up question.
Like, what type of men are we talking about?
In general.
Because he asked you the question about the bear, and you said a bear.
Yeah, I mean, I would say, like, I've been, like, catcalled on by men, like, consistently, and it was, like, growing up, being, like, in middle school when it would happen. So it's just, like,
Yikes.
I have good, like, male family members, and I love and respect them, but, like, strangers, I gotta, like, get a read on them before.
Okay. What do you think of men?
Yeah, I'd say something similar. I, like, exercise caution just around men that I don't know.
Okay.
Yeah.
I do like, some men are obviously incredibly annoying, but there's a lot that aren't, so
Sure.
It's just down to their personality.
I like men better because I just feel like, you know, there's just less drama. You're gonna have better. Yeah.
I don't have a problem with men. I think some obviously have issues, but I'm not gonna say I hate all men just because one man pisses me off.
Okay. Any thoughts, Andrew, on that clip?
Well, I mean, I owe everybody a deep-seated apology that they had to see Joy Behar ever for any reason at any time. I disavow completely the view in all ways that it can possibly be disavowed. So I'm sorry that all of you had to be subjected to that. That's awful. That's pretty horrific. But other than that, yeah, to the topic at hand, yeah, of course, women need men. There's quite a delusional take going around that they don't, but men are the ones who keep infrastructure society
Mr.
going.
Bullay donated $69. Happy belated Armed Forces Day to all who are serving active duty, National Guard or Reserves.
Thank you, man.
Whether you're serving here at home, overseas or downrange, thank you for your service. Who are?
Yeah, thank you, man. Andrew, go ahead and finish your point.
No, I was saying that men are the ones who keep all infrastructure going. Without men, women would be unable to exist effectively at all. And it's not just due to reproduction. If you were to take all men out tomorrow, most of the women on planet Earth would essentially die out probably within the first year or two. But if you were to do it in reverse, hypothetically, men would probably be just fine, live into their old age, and I mean, that would be the end of the human race, but men would probably be okay.
And is that because like men are predominate in infrastructure type careers and jobs?
Yeah, they control the entirety of the infrastructure. And women benefit from the entirety of infrastructure, but they don't build any of it. They just don't build any infrastructure. They don't know anything about it. Now, that's not to say you can always point to an outlier, right? Well, there's some women who, yeah, that's true, but there's not enough of them. And inside of the male domain, it's basically all men. I mean, almost every infrastructure job is completely dominated by men, sometimes to the tune 90, 95%. So they would be okay, women would not be okay. And what happens is women become very delusional in modernity because they can't see all the hidden wires, right? So everything that you see is backed with hidden wires, asphalt, things like that. Everything that you see, the infrastructure that you walk on, is basically taken for granted. And most women have no idea how any of that's even constructed. They just basically live within the paradigm that modernity kind of creates itself. That's why, I mean, that's why so many of them become delusional and say a world without men is easy, because they have no fucking idea what they're talking about, essentially.
Any thoughts on that from the panel? Any thoughts?
It's just crazy that the girl in red, she was like, I would die without gay men, given that she had a husband. Did she say she had a husband?
Yeah, she did. Well, I just think it's crazy that even, like he was saying, like the view is just in general. But the fact that they literally can talk shit about men like that on TV, because if that was reversed, oh my God.
They'd be canceled.
Yeah, they'd be so canceled. It would be ridiculous. It would be a whole thing like, oh, they said all, or a man said all of this about it, that we don't need women, that women are useless, and that would.
The View has a long history of making like some of the most absurd, like man-hating, misandrist statements, and so. But any reaction to what Andrew said? Do you guys agree? Disagree?
I agree, 100%.
Speak your mind. Speak your mind.
I'm a history major, so I have like somewhat learned. Like, obviously, we benefit a lot from men being in like industrial sectors, but there's just a history of men having a past within those sectors and like excluding women from it. So give us
I mean, that has not been the case now for
like 100
years. Many generations, and women still opt out of those sectors.
I don't think women want to do a lot of those jobs.
You know why that is? You know why they opt out?
You could say they don't want to, but like it was just like not very available to them. So give us, you know,
it's been available to them for many generations, and they still opt out. They still go for teaching. They still go for service industry work. They still go for all those things. They don't go for infrastructure work. You don't see them with their hard hats on, digging trenches. You don't see any of that. The reason for this is because of there's two primary reasons. One is because men obviously are biologically much stronger than women, but there's also an issue that's never really brought up, which is heat regulation. So men's bodies able to control the temperature of the body much better than women are. And there's the same thing with muscular skeletal structure. So men's skeletons actually much bulkier, and they're capable of taking much larger amounts of damage than women are. So it's not just strength, but even something as simple as a shovel smacking a leg, for instance, by accident, men can take that damage much better than women can. And so men gravitate towards those types of jobs. Women tend to stay clear of them for that reason, especially the temperature regulation. Like you'll even see this. This is a common kind of complaint inside of office buildings that women say, well, if there's men inside the office building, they keep the building too cold. They keep it too cold. They just have an easier time regulating their body's temperature.
Can I ask you what you want to do for, like, because you're a history major, what do you want to do?
Oh, I'm hoping to go into law.
Okay.
So, like real estate law.
You're not planning on working for Caltrans and putting on a hard hat and digging a trench?
No, I don't think anyone really wants to do that.
I know tons of men want to.
Yeah, some men like it.
Well, yeah, I mean, but.
I mean, men love construction. So building for a lot of men is their passion. They love it. They go to work with great joy every day working on a construction yard. They like to see the beginning, the middle, and the end of a project and know that they built it. It's not just a sense of pride, but it's how their brains work.
You were saying something about like historically like women haven't had access to those kind of more physically laborious jobs, but because you said there's like a historical component there. It's not clear to me though, like now that there really isn't much of a bar in terms of getting into those kinds of positions and fields of work. Do you think it ultimately comes down to choice at this point? The women just choose to not be in these sorts of...
Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of it is like women now have the choice of going beyond, like, because they were always usually like put into like education, like becoming teachers. Now they have a choice to go beyond that. And I guess like the industrial sector is not for women, I guess you could say, or like it's not something a lot of women would prefer to do.
It's true that that they can now go beyond working in education, but you might notice the trend that they still move. Women essentially right now in modernity do the exact same jobs that they did before we had complete egalitarianism. Basically, they work in service work, education, nursing. These are the same jobs that they've always traditionally had. They're just interested in different things. Right?
I mean, I don't know. Like, I feel like I'm just thinking of my own future and like girls I've talked to, and it's just...
Do you know any girls that want to do construction?
No, but I don't know any guys that want to do construction either. So it's like...
Andrew, this is I'm sort of changing topics a little bit here. Andrew, this is an argument I heard. So, you know, when it comes to the whole like doing sex work, OnlyFans thing, an argument I've heard from the other side, which I think is actually fairly compelling, is that there's this criticism of women who do OnlyFans, sex work. You're selling your body. Why would you sell your body? And I guess, of course, it's of a sexual nature. But is it any more... I'm trying to think how they typically frame it. They'll say that, for example, men who work construction or electricians or these jobs that tend to be, they result in injuries, they result in back problems, back-breaking work. Is that really any better in terms of the damage that's being done to their bodies? Now, in terms from like a social perspective, it's more respectable. But in terms of like the damage done, is it really like to work 40, 50 years and like end up at the end of your life with like catastrophic injuries?
Larson donated $72. Ladies, I'm an auto worker in Michigan. If you were offered $100,000 per year, would you work in an auto factory in the summertime getting as hot as 100 degrees with no air conditioning?
No.
It's hotter than that, some of them.